Marquise M.J. Jackson was tragically murdered on his 33rd birthday in December of 2022. He was widely loved by his family and his community and was well known to be the life of the party. So this was just more than a murder of a black man, as he was a black man, but also he was a trans man. Recently, in the last few years, there have been a lot of more legislation in different states that have been taking steps back and protecting our fellow human beings. The right to just exist, for example. While this is one case that is sure to bring strong emotions, please keep in mind that the struggles of the people who are trans that have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bruh Issa Murder, where
Bruh Issa Murder.
Bruh Issa Murder, where we cover true crime cases of color and play music from artists you probably never heard of before. It's me, Battle, and Robert, and K Money, and Andre. I didn't fuck it up this time. If you listen to the last episode, of course.
Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome. The earth says hello.
Hello.
But yeah, thank you for checking out our next installment in the homicide of Marquise M.J. Jackson, a proud member of the trans community. But before we start, make sure you like and subscribe and leave us a comment or, feedback or review. I don't think we've had a review in a while. Yes. And of course, check out the show notes because it'll have links to all of our resources that we used and other information that we have on the case. So, Kelly, if you want to, you can...
Well, first, if this is coming out in June, happy Pride.
Yes.
This should be coming out in June.
And
How many prides do you guys do in Philly? Do you have just one?
Just one. I mean, it should happen all throughout the month, but there's mainly just one big Pride festival.
We do, it's called Corporate Pride, and then there's Punk Pride.
But we do that too.
Yeah, where everyone actually goes clubbing and goes to Tower Grove, and then all the companies get to have their parade and do shit downtown.
Break out your poppers. It's gonna be fun. Kelly.
Careful if you're using stuff like poppers.
Please do not use poppers. It's bad for your brain. It makes your butthole loose.
Maybe I should
It
try
does.
It.
Oh, girl, you better get yours, Kelly.
Scratch that from the record.
Make sure you drink and broth that day.
Advertise that.
You don't want to advertise anal.
Butt stuff, everyone, with K Money.
This is the second episode in a row. Y'all could not talk about
butt stuff.
We're trying to normalize it, Robert. God.
Yeah. Happy Pride. Happy Pride.
Jackson was a transplant in Philly from South Carolina. Not only was he an activist for trans rights, but he also served in the military. He had come out to his mother when he was just a teenager, and she had told him, "I don't care who you are, you're still my child. I love you for who you are." Sources say that he was at least the 39th trans person killed in the U.S. and the 5th person in Pennsylvania in 2022. His body was found 2 days after his 33rd birthday.
I thought it was his yard at first, then I looked it up again, and it was just it was a random neighbor's yard. So police were called to a neighbor's, use the term neighbor loosely, community member, house in North Philadelphia on December 14th and found Jackson's body in the backyard. Now, MJ had been beaten and was left outside shoeless on a cold winter day in this backyard. An autopsy later revealed that MJ died of multiple blunt force injuries to the head, and his death was ruled a homicide. Now, at the time of the murder, Jackson's sister, Micaiah, spoke at a news conference with the district attorney, Larry Karsner. and prayed for a swift apprehension of her brother's killer. She says that her brother went somewhere to hang out with some people and was beat to death. The motive of the crime was unclear, and Assistant District Attorney Joanne Pescatori,
Yes.
look at me, non-Italian things, noted that MJ may have survived if he had received medical attention sooner instead of just being left out there. Jackson's death came just weeks after the murder of Diamond, a transgender woman who was found shot to death in the apartment of the 400th block of Manham Street in Germantown. The deaths underscore the problem of violence against the transgender community, particularly Black and Latinx transgender women. Between 2017 and 2021, at least 175 trans people were killed nationwide. And according to an investigation by Business Insider, between 2017 and 2021, at least 175 trans people were killed nationwide. And I know a lot of people in like the club scene who have spoken out about their personal experiences with this type of violence, especially when it comes to like dating too. Like, I'm a big believer in like just close when you feel safe. Like if you're a trans person and you're dating, don't feel the need to say it out front. I feel like you should do it when you feel safe and comfortable and are in like are safe and secure to do so.
On
because
your
you never
terms.
know. Yeah, on your terms. Because you never know how people are going to react. And nowadays you gotta like safety first, you know? I hate seeing the discourse online like, oh, you should tell somebody if you're trans up front. Bitch, they don't know if you're going to wild out and try to strangle them in the back of the car. Like,
Intimate partner violence is one of the most underreported crimes within like queer community. So like, you know, it doesn't matter how long someone's been dating someone. Like if you see them acting inappropriately, putting their hands on somebody, like do everything you can to like be an advocate for that person, to like help them leave that situation if they want to, if they can. You know, we talk about it a lot when people are like trying to leave a marriage or something, like, you know, an abused spouse, but it can be just as difficult to leave, you know, just a long-term partner. You know, having support for your, you know, family, your, you know, chosen family is just as important. And it is our responsibility. That police began to instead focus their attention on Charles Mitchell, who is the owner of the property that MJ was found on. Mitchell faces charges of murder, abuse of corpse, tampering with evidence, and related crimes. That abuse of corpse makes me...
How is someone dead in your fucking backyard for 2 goddamn days? 2 days? And you didn't say anything? Or do anything? Like,
and no one else said anything?
And the fact that there is an abuse of corpse charge makes me think that there were things done to the body after death. So...
Have you guys seen that movie, Boys Don't Cry?
Yes.
But I'm familiar
think
with
so.
the crime.
A trans person that got, like, murdered by a bunch of
Among
people.
other things.
Yeah.
Is this like a recent movie?
No, this is
Or
from the
came out a while ago?
90s. Pretty sure.
Yeah, it's an old...
Hilary
It has
Swank.
Hilary Swank, yeah.
That's the main character. Or the
So authorities currently are saying that the motive for the crime was unclear. So we don't really know how Charles Mitchell fits into this picture. Who was Charles Mitchell to Marquise Jackson? And what escalated the situation to murder? So we know that MJ was going to hang out with some people. So was Charles Mitchell one of those people? And it was an argument that got crazy? Or, you know, was this intimate partner violence? We don't really know how he fits into this situation yet. He could have just been a random man who snatched someone up. But given the severe nature of the crime, I think that it most likely was targeted, especially given that MJ was a prominent figure.
Yeah.
So Charles Mitchell was arrested in the first days of April. Having fled Philadelphia, he was eventually captured in Nevada. Naturally, because of the time frame, we don't have any information as far as sentencing or anything into the whys of the case that are related to Mitchell's trial. It is this month that he was finally captured, so it will probably be a while before things start to progress again.
Now I'm wondering, did he get taken back to Philly, or is he still is he held in Nevada?
I
mean,
don't
they
know if he's
can't
been extradited.
prosecute you in in like a different state. They have to prosecute you in the state that the crime occurred in.
So
Yeah,
he
so
may
they
still be
still
held
waiting.
in Nevada. They may be waiting to extradite. I mean, it was like April 3rd, I think, that he was actually arrested. That would be a very quick
That's pretty
turnaround
recent.
time to get him back to Philadelphia. So I'm sure there's lawyers and paperwork in the channels to get him extradited, but they're not going to release him and demand that he return to Philadelphia under warrant or something just because it's a murder case.
Yeah. But I wonder how fast the turnaround is on that. I mean, it'll probably take like a couple more months, honestly, before they can get it back.
Well, and then there's going to be like legal discovery and meetings with attorneys, and it'll take a long time, and then a full trial, and then sentencing,
Yeah.
provided he's found guilty.
Recently, Republicans have been showing their ass again. So, like, with today's anti-wokeness, how do you think that we can make sure that our elected representatives uphold the rights of transgender people and gender non-conforming people? Because I know in a lot of places, Republicans are pushing laws that are taking away a shit ton of people's rights. They're blocking people with certain health care. Yeah, but-
Missouri just had that. They just banned gender-affirming care and increased restrictions on it for people in Missouri. So this whole week has been very doomy in my brain. Like, I've been feeling very defeated as far as, all elections are bought and paid. I can't put anyone I want to in power. Even though, everyone in my life who I talk to about it's like, no, that's a terrible, fucked up thing. Like, I can't believe they're doing that. Like, but feels helpless this week. I think that we're in a kind of a grieving period, especially in Missouri. The past year or two have been really bad politically. We've taken a lot of losses. There's a lot of red control in Missouri, and it's hard to maintain that momentum with activism and going to another protest or going to another meeting when it feels like we lose so much and continue to lose. But as long as those moments of grief are short and we can refocus and say, it's better than doing nothing. We have to continue to try, especially when it's my queer family in the city. I could not live with myself if a person in my life was yeah, but you didn't show up for us.
But I don't know if you should be gaslit into saying that, oh, you need to be there all the time. Because
no, yeah, I mean, no.
I think there has to be
sure.
a good common ground of okay, what is a protest doing versus what is actually getting involved in local government. I don't understand this idea of
just showing up.
Just showing up versus actually taking action and doing the appropriate steps to becoming part of the governing body that makes these different legislations, that makes these different laws. And yeah, you can scream and shout all you want in the roads and whatever, but take it a step further and be the actual change. Vote out these people, try to run for office, and if you lose, try again.
Or volunteer
Well, I
to help
think that's
support
the thing.
candidates that are elected, support
Everybody
candidates.
has different strengths, and not everybody can contribute in the same way, but there's some way that everyone can contribute in their own way.
Mhm.
Whether it be
Yeah.
protesting, whether it be
Talking about it.
donating, whether it be getting involved in your local politics, your community activism. There's so many different avenues with which you can take to have an influence and to help. That if everybody does something or what they can do within their own abilities, that we could do so much more. But everybody,
I
a lot of
agree.
people cut themselves off at the knee and are well, I can't do X, so that's it.
And that's what it means. That's what it means. Going back into that idea of being gaslit into Robert, you shouldn't feel bad for not making every single protest, or if the people that say they love you and you love them are saying, oh, you didn't show up for me, I think that's wrong. Because
Well, I mean,
what if something happened, right? Yeah, like it.
This is, me gaslighting myself. I don't have anyone in my life who's been like,
That's called anxiety, babe.
Yeah. But it's also weird that like this idea of wokeness has become more than just like Black Americans being aware of their surroundings and aware of things happening, to like now everything wokeness is considered liberal media, but that's not the case. And like where
that's because the term woke has been just turned into something I don't like that thing, it's woke.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, so it's like it's so weird. That's like the weirdest thing
to the
like,
extreme, and then it like represents something that it's not by the people who specifically don't want it to do well. You know?
Right?
Like, I mean, look at the whole thing with cancel culture. And now everyone's like, is cancel culture good or bad? Is it this terrible thing? No, cancel culture is terrible. And it's like, people have taken using social media or media in general to hold people accountable and turning it into like this thing that, I mean, yeah, can things be harmful in some ways? Of course they can. But that doesn't detract from the good that it does at its core. Like being woke, being fucking self-aware of how society affects people who are different from you. And then cancel culture, or like holding people fucking accountable for the things that they fucking say. And making them answer for it.
They're saying woke because they want to say the N word, or like they're saying woke because they want to call you the F word, or they're saying woke because they want to say.
And I was like,
you know what?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. They're calling it woke because they want to say something else, but they can't because they don't want to get called out for like actually being homophobic or racist. And they're like, it's woke.
That's the whole thing with them. I mean, what Ron DeSantis had to actually legally define what woke meant when they were doing whatever the fuck they were doing in Florida, and it was. So what is this horrible woke thing? And they were basically like being progressive and wanting rights and thinking that things are wrong with the government. And it's like, you mean like having fucking values and like criticizing like
morals?
Yeah.
Any detraction from the state. Yeah.
Or it's like that one interview that girl did. She was like defining woke, and she's like, well, this is this is gonna be a viral moment. Yeah, bitch, because it's not a real thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, because like that's the thing. That's the thing that I've noticed over all of this stuff. Where it's like the people that this ignorance benefits are going to take something that like is good and for the benefit of people and fucking molest the shit out of it into this thing that is like, oh, you're just being politically correct. I mean, you're just like, micromanaging, policing and stuff. And it's like, no, you just don't like the fact that you're being told that what you're doing is fucking wrong.
Yeah, even things like EPA
you don't like being told what you're doing shitty.
What?
Even like when it comes to like EPA regulations, people are like, oh, well, what chemicals are going into the ground? Oh, well, we've been doing this for years. And it's just wokeness, trying to protect the planet. I don't understand how people who are directly voting against their best interest don't see that they're like doing so.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, they're sitting here destroying the fucking planet, killing people, and then putting all their money into going to fucking Mars or whatever. Actually, there's a piece that of artwork that I saw when I went to the Glenstone in Potomac, Maryland. It's you guys should look it up. It's called Die N-Word Die, but obviously it's anyway. It's I think the artist.
That's a battle texting me every night.
Yeah, it's basically. I think like the color. It's an American flag, but it's in like inverse colors, and it says that across the American flag. And it's by, I think the artist's name is Faith Ringgold, and her artist statement about it is fucking like. I just think that you guys would benefit from it. Well, this is her quote specifically right now. David Rockefeller sent two people to buy a painting in 1969. They came to my studio to see the American People and Black Light series. They were looking at a painting of the US flag thinking it was like a Jasper Johns, but they ran away when they realized you can read the words die and word within the stars and stripes. It was my painting, Flag for the Moon, die and word. It was my way of saying that too many American people go to bed hungry while the government spends billions to place their flag on the moon.
Yeah, it's a powerful piece.
But and the other
Her
one too.
work
With
is
the,
incredible. I would highly recommend it.
Faith Ringgold.
I saw
yeah,
it.
we're gonna put her in the show
Blacklight
notes
series
too.
number 10.
Yeah, we're gonna link her in the show notes. You check out the art too for those not watching on YouTube and just listening. But the tragic death. Yeah, you described it at least. We did our part. But I mean, the death of NJ is a heartbreaking example of the violence and discrimination faced by trans people. And in the show notes, we're going to link a lot of different sources for you to check out. Again, happy Pride Month. That was this week's episode. Anything to plug? Battle? Your butt?
No.
Robert, your band?
No. Just love each other. I love
Ellie,
you.
your butt?
I don't know you, but I love you.
Not right now.
As a treat. Speaking of treats, kisses from the homies because we love and appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Little tongue.
As a treat for later.
That's a treat.
Bye.
Bye.
Open my eyes on the side,